so I'm sitting there with my co-director, and I was like, oh my God, is that thing still behind me? She's like, no, they're going to do that shiny model again. What is that? Wait a minute, when did that happen? So it was, that was a lot of fun for me. I enjoyed that. It is a great honor, a real pleasure to be here. It's been more fun, even than I would have expected. I wanted to say that I really do sort of want Linda Sarsour to be my best friend all the time. And television is a very particular kind of evil. It is one that conveys value, often on things that are valueless, simply because we point a camera on it, right? So when we put things on television, it gives them a kind of heightened importance that may or may not be true. And so part of what happens, particularly when we have guests on air who don't spend all of their time trying to be on television, but in fact are doing real work in the world, sometimes what can happen is a real, like I'll notice people come on and they're kind of doing the life and that sort of thing. I just want to tell you how much Linda Sarsour is not that person, and how much I enjoy having a guest who just gives zero shits about so good. I also want to say I really do come from a family of nonprofit people. My husband is a nonprofit attorney, which is funny to me, just those things in the same sentence. Which means basically he's someone who defaults on his law school loans. My mother came up, I was raised by a woman who all of her professional life was nonprofit work. So I always had an initial bias against anyone who is from that evil, bad corporate, like even my own job. Like I have appalling feelings every time I walk into 30 Rock about what has gone wrong, that I have been reared to work in a place where someone is thinking about profit. So the idea of MC standing here and reminding us that the profit motivation can be harnessed for good. Like what I heard, literally watched you do here, that sense of if people are working together for a bottom line of something, if you then shift what that bottom line is, so that now, you know what we're going to be good at? We're going to be good at generating this new form of justice and attacking this version of inequality and addressing this set of issues. It's really quite extraordinary. So you actually intervened in and changed my biases in a matter of a few moments, which for me was a very exciting experience. I've had the lovely experience of talking to lots of folks tonight who have said lots of nice things about the show, but my most favorite moment, and I don't see her in the room right now, the woman who was serving as the waitress server at our table bent over and said to me, I love your show and I watch it all the time. So I want to say thank you to everyone who is on the event staff this evening, who's been working here. Now, I just want to say a couple of very quick things, and then I'll be done. I love the YWCA. Actually, one of the reasons I picked the home that I live in Winston-Salem, North Carolina right now is because it is biking distance and a nice, good long walk from the YW. In fact, it is in the winter. It's on my running trail, and so I will run to the Y and back. Like that's how I do. That's what I would do. So the YW is an organization which Rob and I were saying we both learned to swim at our various YWs as kids by we got our swims at that YW right now in Winston-Salem. And more than anything, there just are so few organizations, even those who are actually actively committed to the work of racial justice these days, who say the word racism, who will just articulate that discourse. Part of what I love about Linda is The ways in which you never appropriate blackness, but always clarify that blackness is something broader than some set of genetic distinctions about a particular heritage that connects back to Africa relatively more recently than folks who are connected back relatively more distantly. That idea that like blackness is this ontological decision, it is a choice about connecting with the least of these, that it is in fact an almost ethical, moral decision to see oneself as black, not genetically, not racially in the most basic sense of race, but in that sense of solidarity and connectedness. So we are thinking about blackness in that broadest sense, we are thinking about race and racism in that broadest sense, and we cannot help in the world of media right now, but also notice that we are in a moment of revolutionizing our understanding about what woman is when we say it. Doing work in probably under-resourced nonprofit organization in communities with an enormous amount of need, it can be difficult to look at a moment like the introduction of the world to Caitlyn Jenner and see Caitlyn Jenner as central to the work that we are doing. Because obviously Caitlyn Jenner comes with a whole variety of packages of privileges around race and around class, but it is just good fun to watch the media learn to struggle. With the idea that gender is a social construct and a pronoun. As a woman who gave up my uterus in 2008, it is always fun to watch the world struggle with the reality that having a uterus is not in fact constitutive of womanhood. That in fact, perhaps not even a vagina is necessary. So I think I said shit, vagina. Trying to see how many I can get in before 9:30, okay. So again, like I recognize that for those of us who are doing work where there are trans women of color who we know are particularly vulnerable to the kind of police violence, to public violence, for those of us who are doing work with both cis and trans women whose bodies are particularly vulnerable to violence that we call domestic or private violence, it can be difficult to see why a moment like Caitlyn Jenner, with all of the privileges that Caitlyn brings, is crucial, but it is. And I want to suggest that it is because it is time for us, as we talk about empowering women, as we talk about challenging and ending racism, to broaden those very definitions of what gender and race are, to get more complicated in that discourse, to both recognize our solidarity, but also the challenges that come with being cis persons often, with being able-bodied persons often, with being straight persons often, with being people who identify very clearly around one set of racial identities, that it is time for us to constantly be challenging even the spaces of privilege that our own disprivileged embodiments existed. And so it is exciting for me, incredibly exciting for me, and I think it can't last long, so we're just going to ride it really hard. To have a national platform to talk about exactly those issues, to be able to invite the extraordinary men and women and cis persons and trans persons, the people who are fighting the good fights, those who are causing the big problems, those who are on the left and the right. It really is just such a gift. It's just a privilege. And again, I don't know how long it will last, but as long as it does, as long as we get this chance, I just want you to know I hope that we still keep doing a little tiny bit on the TV of all of the really actually important work that you all are doing in the community.